Welcome to the Genesis of the Doctor podcast, where we're taking a journey through the time and space of the history of Doctor Who. I'm Tris.
And I'm Joy.
And for today's episode, we're watching the first and second serials of season 14 with the Masque of Mandragora, I think that's how you pronounce that, and the Hand of Fear. Yeah. I have fumbled every time I've tried to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's a complicated name.
But not too complicated of a story, actually, as a good transition there.
Yeah.
There was a lot less going on than I thought there would be.
Yeah, it was pretty simple.
Like, the initial premise made me think we were going to see, like from the very first bit where, you know, they land somewhere they're not supposed to and this thing gets into the TARDIS. I kind of thought we were going to see they keep going back to the TARDIS and keep going to multiple places with this thing.
Yeah.
But no, they get stuck, not quite stuck, but they bring this thing to, I guess, Renaissance era Italy, and they deal with it there. And the whole premise of this story was actually really interesting.
Yeah. Mostly just like a historical, but then they just give superpowers to one of the villains.
Yeah, the way they play out the cult and the draw that this cult has is fascinating to me, because as the Doctor even mentions, that cult should have died out centuries ago.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is kind of this something's wrong with time idea.
Yeah.
Mandragora is interfering a little too much.
I think a lot of the characters are really good in this story, though. Like, especially Federico. Or
Yeah.
Giuliani and Margot are, you know, they seem kind of gay for each other.
A little bit.
I love the scene where he's like, "This is my companion, Marco," and it's just like that feels like you mean something else and not companion.
Especially, like, there's a ton of little things that hint at that too, right? Like the fact that when he sits in his quote-unquote throne at the party, his companion's seat is equally right next to him.
Yeah.
Which is normally what would be saved for a king and his wife. It's not further back or a distance away. It's right next to him.
Yep.
So I have a feeling, yeah, that they probably are a bit gay for each other. I wish they fully committed.
Yeah. It's the 1970s, though. I don't think it's even allowed on TV yet.
No. But that's why I'm kind of surprised they did that much, right?
Yeah.
Like, they actually surprised me by having that. And it wasn't just played for laughs, you know? Because
Yeah.
it easily could have been. But the fact that, like, it seemed like they took it seriously. And sure, later on, Giuliano just calls him a friend. But there's, like, a hesitation in his performance, like, to the way he calls him friend and refers to him. It's clearly so much more. You gotta read between the lines there a little.
Yeah. A lot like the second Doctor and Jamie. It's like you can easily read it that way.
Yeah. I think this was a little more purposeful in that case, though.
Yeah. I did like the little tour that Sarah's getting at the start of the episode, though. And it's like...
Oh, true.
There's like a giant room, the Doctor calls it a boot cupboard. And it's like, no, that's like a living room in there.
That's one of our first times that we really get a look at, like, other rooms in the TARDIS, too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the idea of just how expansive the TARDIS is. And I like the excuse they used for why they were in this other console room for this and the next story.
Yeah.
Something about, like, the way they set it up actually was pretty good. They're like, oh, I could control it just as well from here. Sure, why not?
Yeah. And I like how they implied that, like, the other Doctors have been in there. We just never saw it, though.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen 3 in there.
The second Doctor's recorder was there, and then, like, a third Doctor coat was there as well. And I love how Sarah just starts playing the recorder as soon as she finds it.
Very funny how instantaneous that was, yeah.
I do like this console room, too. Like, I like the design of it. It's interesting.
I really like how it feels like the basis they used for going forward with the idea of redesigning the TARDIS interior in the modern era.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to look exactly the same as long as the key features are there and we could do anything else with it. And it made it feel very like homey. Like it really felt like a home, like a room found in a home.
Yeah. I like the like stained glass windows and stuff that it has.
Yeah. No, it's really pretty. I'm surprised they don't use this for very long, despite
Uh,
how much effort it looks like they put into designing it.
Apparently, between filming this season and next season, like the walls of it broke down in storage, so they kind of couldn't use it again.
Ah,
So then
that's
they're just like,
unfortunate.
well, we'll just go back to the old one. Problem solved. We don't want to have to rebuild this whole thing.
That would take a lot. That would take a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see it for the rest of this season at least.
Okay. So for a bit, how do we feel about Federico and Hieronymus?
They were fascinating characters. I liked them.
I I love how like bloodthirsty Federico is,
Yeah.
but for some reason his conquest, his quest for control is a mild surprise to Giuliano and like others in the court. Like surely you could tell that's what he was going for the whole time.
Yeah. And like right at the beginning, he's like, wow, Hieronymus, you kind of guessed when my father was gonna die. Sure, highly suspicious of you. Something's wrong here.
Yeah, that's also something I wanted to bring up here is there was quite the point of contention of read their death in in your astrological readings. But then also, oh, just say you change it. Oh, you would dare blaspheme astrology. You would dare blaspheme what I read in the stars. It's like, but you didn't read the death in the stars in the first place. That's the whole thing you're going on about. You're
Yeah.
helping him on his quest for conquest. You were pretending to have read these deaths. Why is he's not making fun of what you do. He's telling you do it again, but move it up. Like what?
Yeah. It's a weird point between them. Because
Because
you've
like
already been.
you're definitely not reading that the death is happening because he specifically told you find a reading that says this death will happen. He's like, okay, tomorrow it will happen. Oh, can it be sooner than that? No, I've already pronounced it to be tomorrow. It's like, well, you only pronounced it to be tomorrow because I told you to do so.
Yeah. I think that's just like Hieronymus is just a bit weird with his religion.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably because he's well, while he is an astrologer, he's far more into the Brotherhood.
Yeah. I think the Doctor just had a lot of good scenes in this story where,
There were
he's
a
like,
lot of good scenes.
I like
Yeah.
the scene where he's escaping from the guards at the beginning. So he like puts a sword, or he puts an apple on a person's sword, and then pulls out a noisemaker, and then runs off, steals a horse.
So yeah, there was whimsy. There was good whimsy in this story, and it made it a delight to watch.
Yeah,
And every time he's escaping from the guards, actually, is quite funny because it
Yeah.
keeps happening.
and then Sarah Jane gets hypnotized halfway through the story, but then it's like,
Yeah, they keep doing that to her,
yeah, they do it in
as we
both of these
see
stories.
again in the next one.
In this one, I felt like it was not really as well done as the next story.
Yeah, it was definitely better in the next story because it was more of a focal point that it happened in the next story.
Yeah,
Here it definitely felt like a weird little thing, just a quirk to show you what Hieronymus can do.
yeah, she's hypnotized to think the Doctor's evil, but then she's acting like his friend, except for trying to stab him.
Yeah, very strange. The presentation of the hypnotism isn't very good here.
Yeah. It is fun to note, though, that they kind of explained how they can understand different languages in this story for the first time.
True, true.
He
I
just
was
says,
surprised to see that.
yeah, he just says it's a Time Lord gift, which, I mean, in Modern Who, it's more a TARDIS thing, but I guess it kind of counts as a Time Lord gift.
Those kind of go hand in hand, yeah.
And then that's how he knew she was hypnotized, because she never asked it before.
So I have my notes here as like big question marks. I want to ask you how you feel about this. How do you feel about how the Doctor saved the day? How the story ended? Well, not like so specific ending, but how the threat was stopped. Because it really feels random to me.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. Like they kind of try to explain it, but they don't really explain it very well exactly like how it all worked. And then like it's weird to me that Hieronymus is defeated off screen. Like
Yeah.
obviously they did that so they could have the Doctor pretend to be Hieronymus, but it's weird.
That's why I don't get it, because like Hieronymus was like possessed by Mandragora. So like why was he just defeated off screen? Why does energy squared, as he put it, just get rid of the whole Brotherhood? Like that, it didn't really make sense.
Yeah. I feel like they just wanted to have a scene where he pretends to be the villain, and then they just force that into the story instead of making it all make that much sense.
Yeah, it just makes it seem like the worry they were building up for 3 episodes of, and most of this 4th episode, the threat they were building up and how dire it was, really feel like it wasn't in the end, with how quickly and with nonsense the Doctor just wins,
Yeah.
half off screen.
And he defeats the rest of the Brotherhood by just giving them what they were trying to do the whole time, which doesn't
Yeah.
make much sense.
Do they ever revisit this idea? Because I know they end with the tease of, oh, the constellations will be in the correct position again at, the end of the 20th century.
I don't know if they did. I know in the Sarah Jane Adventures, one of the stories was supposed to be this, but then they changed it last minute. Because they were saying, like, it's too different. I think that was called, like, Secrets of the Stars or something, that episode.
Huh, okay.
And it was just, like, it was supposed to be Mandragora, but then they were like, well, it's not really close enough to it, so we're just going to call it a different thing.
I see.
Otherwise, it must have been, like, Expanded Universe if they did anything else. I'm not sure if they did.
Yeah, that would make sense. It's a shame. I think it has so much potential, I think, for them to be able to do more with it to better explain it.
Yeah. I did like, though, when the Doctor, like, revealed that it was him, and he kept doing the voice and joked around with it.
He kept doing the voice, yeah.
I wouldn't even say no to a salami sandwich. But he says it like, it takes like 10 seconds for him to say it.
And then, the very next scene, he's got a nice, like, big salami that he's holding on to as a gift.
Yep. It's great.
How did we feel about how Federico was killed, though? Because I was thinking on it more, and I feel like it's not really... I don't know if I'd say satisfying is the best way to put it, but it feels like there were two villains that were about to be at odds with each other, and I don't really like how they kind of just killed off Federico to show off how dangerous Hieronymus and Mandragora became.
Yeah.
But then that didn't really go anywhere either.
It was definitely a bit quick to kill him off. You'd expect it to be like a bigger fight, but then it's just, oh, we're just using this to show you that Hieronymus has powers now.
I really thought it was going like 2 episodes in, like even like the start of the 3rd episode, I really thought what we were going to build up to was Federico puts differences aside to work with them to stop Hieronymus. But then as soon as Hieronymus is stopped, oh, now they have to do it with Federico, but then like something happens to stop him too.
Yeah.
But I thought he was going to be the one that outlives the villain slightly, but no, he died as an example, and after everything he did in the story, I don't know if that's written well, in my opinion. I think they could have done more, because the intent of killing him off didn't actually amount to anything in the end.
Yeah. It would have been nice to have a bit more of the struggle between them.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
instead
I agree.
They just have his guards just are forced to work with the good guys now. Because he's dead.
Yeah, which I find very funny that they only go off the doctor's word for that too.
Yeah. It's also just funny to me that, like, when they were working for Federico, they were so willing to kill Giuliano. And, like, Federico was not even subtle about it either. Like, he just
No.
ran into Giuliano in the woods and was like, we're just going to kill you now, okay?
Well, they were going out with the intent to go kill him, but you would think he would have like hidden and had like the guards do it, so in case Giuliano survived, you could say, "Oh, they're rogue guards." No,
Yeah.
he was like leading the charge.
Yeah. You almost wish that, like, Federico died because all that came back to bite him in the end, but no, not
Yeah,
really.
yeah. I think the other thing that gets me is in like a good way. Given how we were talking, how Giuliano's clearly gay. I'm very surprised they didn't kill either of them.
Yeah.
Because in a story like that, with representation like that, even if it's not explicit, the fact that it wasn't played for jokes, your other trope would have been, oh yeah, well they die. No,
Yeah.
they didn't. And it's very, very surprising to me that it was actually handled pretty well. The only thing being they can't explicitly say it because of the times. And yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. They are a
Is there
good story, those two. I like them.
is there any behind the scenes about them, out of curiosity, that we know of?
Not that I could find.
I doubt they would have gone on record saying anything, but
Yeah. I didn't see anything, at least on TARDIS Wiki. But I know
fair
a
enough.
lot of people are very, like, a lot of people interpret them as gay.
Yeah,
It's very
hard
common.
not to be honest.
Yeah.
Like that very first moment that Giuliano introduces him, he has that like pause to soften his voice to say companion.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I read that.
Yeah. And, like, even when Marco's being tortured, he still refuses to betray him. You know, there's a strong connection between them.
Yeah.
I did like how the Doctor was so eager to meet Leonardo da Vinci, and then he doesn't manage to get to see him.
And then even then he's like, oh well, it's good that I did it. It's like, oh okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Maybe another time.
Maybe another time.
I liked how
Well, I think then.
he was joking around
Anyway.
with the lion mask as well.
Yeah.
And a funny
Okay,
behind the scenes story is that Elizabeth Sladen was supposed to leave at the end of last season, and then she heard about this story, and she wanted to do this story. So
Oh, that's really funny.
she stayed for the, like, first two stories of this one because she heard about this script and just liked it.
That's pretty great, actually.
It wouldn't have been the Seeds of Doom at the end of the season if she did leave, because apparently that writer was working on a different story for her final story. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, she was supposed to leave at the end of season 13.
Well, staying for 2 extra stories is kind of what pushed her over as being one of the longest companions. So
Yeah.
because with that, she's there for longer than Joe by being for what 3 seasons and then a couple extra episodes.
Yeah. I think that's all I had on the first story.
The last note I have about it is I think they really enjoyed the sets and all the outdoor filming they got
Yeah.
to do. I think it's evident in the way they go about it.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Well, then that brings us to The Hand of Fear. This story was so captivating to me. I intended to watch it like 1 episode a day over the course of the week, and I ended up watching all 4 episodes in once a day. I had to keep going.
Yeah. I like this one quite a bit too. I really liked the female Eldrad form. Very well acted, very good costume.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the male version is a worse costume and a worse performance, but the one we're with for the most of the story, she was great in the role.
I agree. I think the last one that we had felt a bit too much like Omega, and the the villains that like their best performance is their scream,
Yeah.
their angry yell, because he has that moment too.
Yeah.
But no, I do agree. The performance of the earlier incarnation was far more interesting and better acted, in my opinion.
Yeah. And just such a good costume. Like, it, very.
Very cool costume.
Yeah. Then we get to the male one, and it's just like, oh, we just kind of. He's just, like, put rocks together. And there we go, we're done.
He just stuck a bunch of rocks on him. I think this story is so fascinating because I don't think we've ever had a Doctor Who story set in in a nuclear reactor like this, and I think it's really cool how the big thread of the story is while it is Eldrad, it is also just the threat of the nuclear reactor going into meltdown.
Yeah.
It's very tense.
I guess, I think in the Silurians episode, they're in a nuclear reactor, aren't they? I think that had a similar plot point of it might go off.
Yes, it does, but
this one's definitely
that
a lot.
one's weirdly different because it never really feels like it. It could have been any scientific facility in terms of what they do.
Because in that story, making the nuclear reactor go off was just like their third plan. Whereas in this one, it's the whole thing. Although Eldrad wasn't trying to make it explode, but because Eldrad just wanted to absorb the radiation instead. But they really play up like the idea that it might go off. I especially enjoyed the scene of like Watson calling his family and not wanting to tell them.
That was such a good moment. I have that in here too.
He doesn't want to tell them that he might not make it home, but he wants to talk to them one last time.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he hangs up the phone, it's like, oh, it's better now. Good.
I thought that was such a good moment for Watson in terms of like characterization, because I think it really drove home how impactful this was about to be. And I feel like that gave a lot of depth to this character that in most stories we don't get this level of detail for.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because you start off the story thinking that, like, Carter is going to be the more important character, and then he just kind of gets himself killed pretty quickly.
I'm so sad they killed off Carter.
Yeah.
He had that energy of one-off episode companion kind of thing. And I'm so sad that they killed him off because he was great.
And his death was just so funny, too, because he just tries to swing a wrench at the Doctor and then just falls off.
And even the Doctor just looks more confused than anything else.
Yeah. But then Watson becomes your one-off companion instead, essentially.
Yeah. I still think Carter was better for that energy, because Watson's more like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Whereas Carter has more of the professional curiosity with it all, too, the fascination by it.
Yeah.
I think what bothers me most about the way they handled Carter is nobody else ends up like that. Nobody else that Sarah Jane knocks out with the ring becomes one of Eldrad's puppets.
Yeah.
So why did Carter?
Like, there was the guard at the entrance to the plant that she also used it
and
on.
like the couple other scientists that she knocked out too.
Yeah.
No.
I guess it's very specific, like, only when Eldrad feels the need to take over a person.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely enjoyed Sarah Jane's, like, hypnotized acting in this.
Oh, it was way better in this one.
Like the twitching of her mouth and everything is really sells it.
There were a lot of little subtleties to what she did that were really good. Especially with how, like, every time she says Eldrad must live, she just sounds more and more exasperated each time.
Yeah. She really sold it in this story.
She did. It was definitely done really well, and I think the fact that the stakes behind it were a lot higher, it's more rewarding that her performance for hypnosis was much better this time.
Yeah. I did also like the little line of perhaps Gallifrey is in Ireland, which comes back. I think it was in the Family of Blood. The Doctor says the same thing. maybe
So
Gallifrey's in
funny,
Ireland.
honestly. It's like, oh, maybe I.
Yeah. I
Like
like how,
there's
it's funny how
there's so funny little moments like that.
yeah, it's funny in that scene where like the guy doesn't even ask him where Gallifrey is, and just like maybe it's an island. The Doctor's like, yeah, maybe. And like, I mean, if he studied there, he would have to know where it is. You could just
Doesn't
ask him.
find that weird at all.
Yeah. I also liked like the creepy hand movements because
Those are very well done.
this is before they have CGI, so like I don't even know how they did that.
I have to imagine it was green screen and like
Yeah.
it was like a sleeve being worn
Yeah. Could also be like a
because it
just like remote control or something, but then it kind of
maybe,
moves a
but I
bit
think
too
that
much.
yeah, the movements of the hand felt too natural, like it was actually someone's hand playing the role.
Yeah.
So I think it must have been like someone wearing a green screen sleeve wearing the prop, and they're like crawling the hand around.
Yeah.
Because there's like a couple of moments where it's crawling on the ground near someone, and you can kind of see a little bit of the green screen editing.
Yeah.
Not as much as usual, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really creepy when it's moving around, and I like that.
It really is creepy.
A fun fact from behind the scenes is that the story was also originally supposed to have Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart in it,
Oh.
and he was supposed to die in the story.
Damn.
So there was supposed to be like a bigger thing of like alien ships coming to invade the planet and stuff, and then the Brigadier was supposed to like kamikaze himself to take them all out, jump in a rocket, and then make the rocket crash into the ships. The reason why it didn't happen is just because he wasn't available for filming.
Oh. Wow.
So he would have
I
died
mean, it
here.
happens a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But I guess it's a good thing that he wasn't available for filming, so he didn't die.
Yeah. Apparently Harry Sullivan was in the script at a very early point too. I don't know what his role in the story was, though. I guess maybe he would have just been like at the hospital, because that would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
The only behind-the-scenes detail I know about this story, because I remember hearing about it years ago, was I remember hearing that Sarah Jane's departure from the TARDIS was at least partially written by Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen themselves to make it feel more natural between their characters, because they were like really in the mindset of their characters,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, the writers of the episode just left the ending blank and just got Tom Baker and Elizabeth Sladen to just write it.
That's so cool, honestly. I can't think of many instances of like something like that happening on a show in general, but this show as well.
Yeah.
The actors having that level of input.
And it's a really well done scene too, because like you can feel how much they care about each other.
Yeah.
Like her departure kind of comes out of nowhere a little bit, but like they have a good goodbye scene at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we know in Modern Who that she was hoping this wasn't a goodbye. It was just a temporary thing, but then it became permanent because he never came back for her. And she's angry at the 10th
They
Doctor
never
for
really
that.
expressed in this goodbye that he should come back for her, unfortunately.
Yeah. Like, we can feel that it's a permanent goodbye, but I guess she didn't get it.
Unfortunate. But definitely a good ending scene. And very funny that the Doctor brings her to the wrong place yet again.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was the right time, but...
Yeah. Yeah, but in Modern Who, she establishes where she was left off, and it's, like, on the other side of the United Kingdom.
Oh, that's funny.
She's, like, way up at the north, and she wants to be right next to London. And it's very far.
That's so funny. I'm sure she had to call the Brigadier to get her back.
Yep, probably.
I wonder whose dog that was that she was bothering at the very end.
I know in real life I think it's the dog of the director is who it was, and then the assistant in the nuclear reactor is his wife, is the director's wife. So
Oh, okay.
the director just cast his wife in it, and then also put his dog in the final scene.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Eldrad was like a great character, and I quite liked how they're like trying to make it unclear if like Eldrad is the bad guy for part of it. Like you kind of get the feeling that she's probably lying about a lot of what she's saying, but she kind of tries to give you a good explanation as to like what happened on her planet.
The only thing about it that bothered me is I think the doctor should have called her out for the excessive violence. Like,
Yeah,
why are like anyone you control, anyone who you make do your bidding, why are they predisposed to violence?
yeah,
Including their own, to the point of their own sacrifice. Like, people have died. I feel like he should have brought that up, but before, trying to trust her, but
yeah. It's also funny, like, when they go to the TARDIS, then Eldred's like, I'm gonna kill you now. And it's like, well, you can't. And then when they get to the planet, they just work with her anyways. So it's like...
yeah, there's this weird attitude where it's like learning that Eldrad was this like genocidal maniac conqueror is like somewhat of a surprise to the Doctor and Sarah Jane. They were like, oh, we were used. And it's like, no, I'm pretty sure by the time you reached the TARDIS, you fully knew and expected this to be the case.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused why this is the reaction.
It's also just weird to me that, like, the Castrines just chose to die, knowing that Eldrad would come back one day. And just like, yeah, we're just gonna let our whole species die instead. A weird plot point. You, like, at least just, like, leave the planet or something. You know?
It is weird that they chose their own demise rather than the potential of ever being led by Eldrad again.
Yeah. But yeah, it's also just funny to me how, like, the true form of Eldrad is just, like, such a downgrade.
It structurally reminds me of the Zygon suits, but with rocks instead of suckers.
Yeah. And then the performance is just, well, he's just angry the whole time. There's no, like, no complicated feelings or anything from Eldrad in that form. I don't know if that's to blame on the acting or the writing, but it's just, Eldrad's a more interesting character before becoming the true form. And then they just trip him using the scarf.
That scarf now has a kill count.
Yep. I do know that Big Finish has done a story with Eldrad, where I think that basically the premise is that, like, well, they found the hand here, so other body parts might be found elsewhere.
Which could then also be used to regenerate the whole body, yeah.
Yeah, and that story is called Eldrad Must Die, because they're saying Eldrad must die instead of Eldrad must live.
That's a good follow-up idea. I like that.
I think it's with, like, the 5th Doctor. That one, I think.
Okay.
But yeah. And then obviously at the end of the story, the Doctor gets summoned to Gallifrey, and that's what's happening next time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens there. That never really happens, so that's certainly curious.
Yeah. It's also funny to me how, like, immediately he's just like, well, I guess I have to. Even though, like, every other time he deals with Time Lords, he's like, I don't want to do what you're telling me to do.
Yeah. I guess that's a case of if they're directly communicating with him in this case, it must be serious enough that, alright, no playing games, I have to.
Yeah.
But I also have written here just a little highlight point. I love how after the Doctor kind of fixes Sarah Jane's hypnotism and conditioning, she once again says Eldrad must live, and then when he's like shot, she's like, "Oh, just kidding, just testing."
Yeah, it's funny. I think I
It
read
was
somewhere
just a
that
funny moment between characters.
I think I read somewhere that might have been not in the script, and it was just Elizabeth Sladen did that to mess with Tom Baker.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know if that's actually
really
true,
good,
but
actually.
I'm not sure if that was like people saying that wasn't the case or it was. But I read somewhere that it might have been. improv.
That's funny.
And apparently Elizabeth Sladen or Sarah Jane was originally supposed to have been killed off in her goodbye scene, but then I think like whoever was supposed to write the original story that was going to be her departure wasn't able to do it, so then Elizabeth Sladen was glad that she didn't get killed off.
Very glad she didn't. That would have sucked.
Yeah, I mean, she comes back and does a lot more later on, so it's a good thing they didn't kill her. But yeah, apparently Elizabeth Sladen also didn't want her final story to be entirely focused on Sarah, just because she felt like the show was more about the Doctor and not the companion, so she didn't want
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
the whole story to be about Sarah's departure.
I think that makes sense because the way it plays out is nice because it doesn't feel like the whole story is written around this the end of this companion, which is definitely what we get in the modern era of when it's a companion's last story, they feel like the focal point most of the time.
Ultimately, the reason why she quit was because she didn't want to be the sidekick anymore, as well.
Okay.
That's
That
why
makes sense.
she chose to leave. And then they were trying to talk her into coming back a bit later, and then that was why they ended up doing a spin-off with her instead.
Yeah, that makes
Although
sense. She
they
gets to
only-
be her own star.
Yeah, they only filmed a pilot for that spin-off, but they were trying to talk her into coming back for like the Fourth Doctor's final season. And
She
then,
finally got it later on, too.
yeah, they wanted her to be in the Fourth Doctor's final season, and she didn't want to be the sidekick, so then like, well, do you want to do a spin-off then, where you would be the main character?
Mm-hmm.
And they tried it, and then it didn't go anywhere. Although she did eventually get a spin-off, obviously.
And it was a good spin-off. It just unfortunately ended when it did.
Yeah. I don't think I had anything else written about the Hand of Fear here. Although I guess we're kind of already starting to talk into Sarah Jane's departure.
I think she was a fantastic companion.
Yeah. I don't think she's like a new favorite of mine, but I enjoyed her time. I think it's a bit difficult for her to be my favorite just because like all the Modern Who companions are just kind of based all around her to an extent.
Yeah. Her and Joe definitely become the framework for future companions. I really like how well she works with both doctors that she's with. My only thing about her character is I think it wasn't really until her spin-off series, like decades later, that they actually started using the fact that she's a journalist more. Because they only use that idea for her really early on, and then they kind of just drop it. And I liked how initially and also in the modern era we see it's the journalistic instinct that's leading her to figure these things out, as well as her experience with the Doctor. It's the inquisitiveness, the aspects that come from that part of her life that help keep her involved and all. And after Robot, that doesn't really come up anymore in her adventures with the Doctor. And I think it's a shame because it was clearly something that they wanted to keep going, and they just kind of dropped it. Not to say that she became generic after that. But I think after that point, the focus was a lot more on Sarah Jane and her personality and how well she works with the Doctor, rather than her as an individual with her skill set. It's why she does a lot of random things, I feel like how she's randomly a really good shot in Sutek's story.
Yeah, it's definitely true that like her being a journalist doesn't really come up like anymore, and it would be an interesting idea to like build off of that a bit more. But yeah, they definitely don't worry about it.
Like, Joe was always the Doctor's assistant, and even while being in the TARDIS and adventuring, she still always had that side to her of being his assistant.
Yeah.
And kind of knowing him well enough as his assistant to be able to help and do things that he would do. I know at some point they changed Sarah Jane to be the Doctor's new assistant. Like, that was kind of just the way they started introducing her and the way they started going about it.
Yeah.
But I never liked that for her because that's not her role, Her role is they're friends.
Yeah.
The only reason he named her his assistant was so that she didn't get thrown out by UNIT. But, like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like in the Seeds of Doom, when like they're going around, it's just, well, I have to bring my assistant with me. That's why she has to go to Antarctica with me, and not like, I mean, you could just have the explanation be that like she's there to write a story about what they found, and that
Yeah,
would also work.
like she's yeah, like she's the journalist that works very closely with Unit, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I think Sarah Jane's a great character, and I can see why she's so iconic. But then obviously,
yeah,
like,
no, she's very iconic, and I fully understand it.
yeah, but then obviously, like, all the companions that come after her are kind of just built off of her dynamic with the Doctor. So it's like
Hmm.
not a new favorite of mine, just because like all the other companions kind of do the same thing as well, to an extent.
Hmm. I love how much of because she was able to have a spin-off, I love how much of her life after the Doctor we get to see. I
Yeah,
love the role that she played, but I think I like Sarah Jane less so as a companion of the Doctor and more so who she became after being a companion. Much like Jack in the modern era, I love who he became after being a companion because of
yeah,
the Doctor. Sarah Jane is another one like that. And I'm surprised how long it took in the modern era to start seeing more like them of what other classic companions come back and what kind of lives they lead. Like, it really shouldn't have taken as long as it did.
yeah. Really, only in the last few years that they started doing that.
Yeah.
So obviously,
And I love that. But Sarah Jane was the first.
yeah, Power of the Doctor brought back a couple, and then the new Russell T Davies era has brought back
Yep.
people here and there. But yeah, we will see Sarah Jane a couple more times because there is the pilot for the spin-off that we can watch when we get there, and then she does show up in the Five Doctors as well.
Okay. So we have a little bit more with her at times.
Yeah, she is the companion of the Third Doctor in the Five Doctors because the
Oh,
Fourth
that makes
Doctor's
sense. Okay.
the Fourth Doctor isn't there. So, well, he is, but he isn't. And then yeah, they were trying
Right.
to talk her into coming back for the Fourth Doctor's final season, but she didn't want to do it.
She still didn't want to be the sidekick.
Yeah.
And at that point, it had been some years, so she might have moved on.
She was kind of like supposed to be like there for when the Doctor regenerates was the idea, which she would be there for a few episodes, but
Oh, okay.
instead they did the spin-off idea instead. And they got
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I think Tegan essentially took her role as shows up like in the stories right before the Fourth Doctor regenerates and then is there.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I know Tegan is a Fifth Doctor companion, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sarah Jane Smith. I don't know if I had to do a big ranking of companions. She would definitely be high up, but I also don't think she'd be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But I do love her character. I think she's incredibly important to the show, and now that her era has passed here, I do understand why. It was great.
Yeah.
But if you support us on Patreon, if you want to join us for this journey, we have two different tiers. At our lowest tier, the passenger tier, gets you into our Discord, where we will be encouraging discussions between episodes about what we're watching, and you'll also get early access to these recordings basically as soon as they're done. But at our companion tier, for just $5 a month, you'll be able to watch live as we record. We have a little text chat on the side, and that could be where you tell us all about Sarah Jane, all about your thoughts on her, and what you think her best story was. Maybe you think she was not very good as a companion. You don't like they kept bringing her back.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know why we always focus on the negatives with that.
Yeah.
No, we'll do a positive. You wish they made her spin off originally, and you
Yep.
wanted to see what that was like. But Joy, why don't you let everyone know how to get ready for our next episode?
Yep. For our next episode, we will be watching The Deadly Assassin and The Face of Evil, which are both four-parters. The Deadly Assassin is a master story, and
Oh,
it's the decayed master who doesn't show up very
the
much.
Decayed Master.
And I will note that in The Deadly Assassin, there is also one of the characters is being played by the guy that was the main Time Lord in the Second Doctor's trial, but I don't think they really bring attention to the fact that they're it's the same actor. But Expanded Universe
okay.
material has said that they are the same character. So
Fair enough.
I think he's like a main character in this one. So we sort of tie back to that, but not exactly. And then
We unintentionally do.
yeah, and then the Face of Evil is the first appearance of Leela. So the Doctor goes this next story without a companion, and it's the only time where you don't even really have a one-off companion either. Because normally, if the Doctor's alone, they at least have a one-off companion. But in this time, no,
Yeah.
he's just kind of on his own.
Interesting. Okay, I guess we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, but then we meet Leela in the Face of Evil. Unfortunately, I recently spoiled myself on the Face of Evil because I was listening to a Big Finish audio, and then in the interviews they were like, "Yeah, this is basically just the Face of Evil. We just did the whole thing again, but it's just an alternate universe take on it." So I kind of know how that plot goes now.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Because it was in the Doctor Who Unbound Doctor of War thing, where it's like, what if the Doctor killed the Daleks in the Genesis of the Daleks? And then one of the stories in that series is just the Face of Evil, but in that universe, where it's I think it's supposed to be like the same plot, but the Master is there instead of the Doctor, is the idea.
Here's how it would have played out if it's like, okay, I see. That's interesting.
But yeah, I know plot points from that story now because of that audio I listened to.
That's fair.
But yeah, we're meeting Leela, and I know Leela's basic premise is that she's like a warrior person, and then she's kind of like the most violent Doctor Who companion.
She's gonna be different because she's not your typical modern day at the time companion traveling with the Doctor, so it should make for interesting dynamics.
I know she's definitely like I don't think they really have her be like captured by people very often because she can just fight her way out of there.
Good.
So it's a different idea for a companion.
Looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah, and then she's with us for I think the end of next season is when she leaves. So she's there for like a season and a half.
She's with us for a little bit. Yeah, okay. That's not bad at all.
Yeah. And
we meet
K9 next season, so K9's there with her.
Oh, excellent. I'm excited for next season now.
Yeah.
We're still early in this one, but still,
yeah.
I'm excited for K9. All right, well, as a reminder, make sure to watch The Deadly Assassin and The Face of Evil before our next episode. You can find those on the BBC iPlayer or the Doctor Who Classic YouTube channel, because they've actually been pretty on top of adding a lot of those.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good.
I was looking through that channel, and most of the Fourth Doctor's era is on there now.
Very good. Very good. That's pretty handy.
One of the stories from this season is missing, and then a couple from season 18, but otherwise, everything we're going to be watching is just on there. And maybe by the time we get to season 18... They might just have the
it might be there by then. Well, keep an eye on the Doctor Who Classic YouTube channel, everybody.
That is only available in the US, I think. Maybe a couple other countries, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So about as restricted as the BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
Just in different ways. And as a reminder, if you support us on Patreon for just $1 a month, you'll gain access to our Discord, as well as early access to these episodes. I have been Tris. You can find me on socials at ToonTris.
And I've been Joy. You can find me at Joy Content.
And we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.